This is video number 5 for sections 3.5 and 11.1, absolute value functions. As we wrap up this lesson, I just want to point out that just like we have linear functions, you can also talk about absolute value functions. In other words, a function that has the vertical bars. Here's maybe the simplest example of that. F of x equals absolute value of x, or another way I could have written it, y equals absolute value of x. Let's take a look at this example. This is not a topic that we will be going into too deeply. So I made a table here just so we could quickly fill in some values. It's not too difficult to take these x values and stick them in and see what y comes out. In fact, all you're really doing is taking the absolute value. So I'll just write down the value part of each of those numbers. And that then gives me some ordered pairs that I can plot. So negative 3, 3, negative 2, 2, etc. If you put down all the dots that correspond to this table, you end up with a shape that looks like this. And if I connect the dots, what you end up with is this interesting V-shaped graph. That's pretty much what all absolute value graphs look like. They might be, some are going to be narrower and some are going to be wider and some may have a different starting point than 0, 0. This is just the basic one, but they all look something like this. Once you have the graph, it's pretty easy to answer questions about it. So I can say find f of negative 6. Actually, I could just use the equation. I can see that if I plug negative 6 in for x, this just means tell me the value part, which is 6. But I could have found that on the graph as well. Here's an input of negative 6, and you can see that it goes with an output value of positive 6. How about this second example? Find x if f of x equals 4. Well, now I don't know what x is. I know what f of x is. So I would have to replace the f of x with the 4 and then solve for the x. Well, this is where the whole mystery number thing would come in. I'm looking for a mystery number. Its value part is 4. Well, there's only two places you could go, and that would be either x equals negative 4 or x equals positive 4. You could, of course, draw the tool if you wanted to and count spaces. We did that already previously in the lesson. Or I could have answered this question just from my picture. I mean, this basically just says, could you tell me which x's go with a y value of 4? Y and f of x are interchangeable. So I could go up here to 4 on the y and then figure out which x values go with 4. It looks like there's two of them, one right here, positive 4, and one right here, negative 4. So sometimes it's nice to see the connections between the tables and the algebra and the graphs just to help you conceptually understand what's going on.